To Italy, where the Prime Minister Romano Prodi is fighting for his political career. He's facing a vote of confidence in the Italian Parliament's upper house, the Senate. It's a vote he's not expected to win, and it's yet another chapter in Italy's turbulent political history. Well, since the Second World War, Italy has had 38 prime ministers. Silvio Berlusconi holds the record for heading the country's longest-serving government from 2001 to 2006. Well, Mr Prodi's centre-left coalition no longer has the majority in the Senate. That's after a small Catholic party withdrew its support, in the shape of one person, on Monday, leaving the coalition with 155 seats. Well, the opposition, headed now by Berlusconi, holds a majority with just one more seat. If the entire Senate votes, Prodi would need to win 161 votes in order to keep his job. And while the political crisis plays out, many in Italy are simply tired of the instability, their fragility at the very top, as Carl Stagno Navarro reports.
At 62, Rocco Donati has seen prime ministers come and go in Italy. Since the end of the Second World War, there have been 38 of them. Rocco now wants to see stability in his country's government.
We need a drastic change, a real radical change. We need someone or a solid, simple party that could really fix things.
Romano Prodi, less than 2 years into his leadership, is facing calls to step down. The crisis sparked by the departure of the former Justice Minister Clemente Mastella, which left Prodi's coalition without a majority. Battles have been won here in Rome and battles have been lost. But Romano Prodi now faces his biggest fight to keep his job. Closely watching these latest twists and turns, Bruno Vespa, Italy's top-rated political journalist. He says this latest crisis does little for the country's reputation.
While I'm proud to be Italian and believe in this great nation, which has great resources, I also believe that the image we are giving to the world is much worse than what we really are.
And many Italians are also fed up with politics and are skeptical about what the future may hold. Early elections could open the door for a return to power for former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi.
I'm for Berlusconi, even if I'm not that enthusiastic. But you can't find worse than Prodi.
Please don't talk to me about Prodi. I don't see any good way out.
I would choose the lesser of two evils, so it's a new Berlusconi government.
Prodi will go to the upper house of Parliament later to seek their backing. He's been under pressure before, but this time he knows he has little room to maneuver.
Carl joins us live from Rome now. Carl, why is Prodi going through with a vote many people expect him to lose?
Well, Stephen, the fact that the Prime Minister has decided to go before the Senate is a decision he made clear because he wants this whole crisis to go through the whole parliamentary system. So yesterday evening we saw the Prime Minister go before the Houses of Parliament, which is the lower house, where there, yes, he got the vote of confidence, but then he knew that he had to face his greatest battle yet, that to get the vote from the Senate. Now, we have to make a distinction here that the two houses which control Italy's political system is rather complicated. In 2006, when he was elected, he had a good majority in the lower house, but a very, very slim majority in the upper house. So when we're talking here with a majority of just one seat, the Prime Minister here is really treading on dangerous grounds, and therefore it is up to what the senators will decide to do tonight at about 8 o'clock local time, that they will have to tell the Prime Minister, listen, you have to go, you don't have our confidence. This is as things are at the moment. The Prime Minister has had all the night to think about exactly what he wanted to do, because yesterday evening there was talk that he would have resigned before he actually went to the Senate, because he knew the mathematics behind the numbers in the Senate over here don't work out, and therefore he wanted a possibility to save his face from the embarrassment of losing this vote. But egged on by the smaller parties within his complicated coalition, he chose to go and challenge any possibility and try to get this vote, which is so important for him to survive. Stephen?
Well, if he doesn't survive, what happens then? And I suspect we could see the return of Mr Berlusconi, couldn't we?
It is very possible to see Silvio Berlusconi back in power, just if general elections are called. The polls over here show that Mr Berlusconi has quite a lead over the centre-left coalition led by Romano Prodi, and for the past few months Silvio Berlusconi and his allies have been calling the government to resign and just call a general election. But this is not up to the opposition. It is all in the hands now of the President of the Republic to decide exactly what is going to happen. He can either if the Prime Minister loses the vote this evening here at the Senate, the President of the Republic then has two choices. He can either appoint a technical government, which the opposition definitely doesn't want, or then he can call a general election. But up till yesterday evening there was also a discussion whether this is a logical decision to do, because they're talking now about how expensive it will be to call another general election, because this is seeming to be quite repetitive in Italian history.
Repetitive indeed. Carl Sano Navarro, many thanks for joining us from Rome.